KMJ, thank you. So I was surprised to see the topic. Excuse me. You said, assessing the various political parties' transformational plan. KMJ, I can say without any equivocation that none of these two has a plan. They have what you call a transformational plan. It's only the Honorable Alan Martin in his very credible self who has presented to Ghanaians a transformational plan, which is the Great Transformational Plan. I'm going to run you through a few details. Because if you listen to what he said, I mean, tell us your transformational plan, you heard it. I'm wondering the level of deception Palgrave is going to throw out there. But anyway, it's become very crucial for Ghana to transform our economy. And really, the word transformation has been used by Alan Martin since the 90s, when he started working on Empretech and all that, long before he even joined the MPP, the first President Kufuor's government. I don't know why he's laughing, but I'm still going to talk. If you look at our economy, all right, and how we've managed it, the first NDC came, mismanaged affairs, sold government and properties, ran our economy into a ditch, into HIPIC. President Kufuor comes to take us. We, out of HIPIC, the benefits, we try to gain some stability. He finds us petroleum. The economy begins to grow, but it wasn't stable. President Mills comes, Mahama, they tried to services sector setting, mismanagement, corruption. We ran into a ditch again, another IMF program. And then President Akufo-Addo comes. When he came, there was an IMF program. Corruption, COVID, external shocks, and all that. We ran into a ditch again. Precisely. Yeah. My point is, that pendulum our economy has seen speaks to one thing. It means we are not stable, we are not growing, we don't have resilience, and so we can't even begin to talk transformation. And that is all that the Honorable Alan Martin has diagnosed, and so came out with the Great Transformational Plan. So the Great Transformational Plan seeks to first build that stability. All the IMF is doing is to help us get to that ground zero, become stable. And so from there, we begin to grow. But how are we going to grow? The Great Transformational Plan has the answers. As we grow, we build resilience to be able to withstand external shocks. Because, like I said, we've been growing before, but it wasn't sustained. It wasn't resilient enough. So COVID comes and we are down. International financial crisis comes and we are down. It's very important we go through that. And so quickly, I'm going to look at how the answers, the transformational plan, the movement for change, and the Honorable Alan Martin has for Ghana. First is to get our macro economy stabilized. How are we going to do that? We say, look, it's not enough to always crave for a single-digit inflation. Let's also target a single-digit interest rate. Now, how are we going to do that? So everything in the Great Transformational Plan speaks to an integrated approach to managing Ghana's economy. It speaks to sound policies. It speaks to the integrity of actors within government, and even our very behavioral and attitudinal change as Ghanaians. Precisely. So we have to target a single-digit interest rate. How are we going to do that? The Bank of Ghana has this policy, the inflation targeting framework, which it's been using for some time now, but it's not yielding. It works in the developed economies. I don't know. There's this insistence on theories, and so that's why our people are suffering. They seem to think that over the weekends, if they see Palgrave or Richard chilling in town, trying to sit at Labadi Beach Hotel or something, they assume... Which has been sold. They assume they have money on them. And so the Bank of Ghana says, okay, let's let's increase the policy rate. When we do that, it will make Palgrave, with all the money he has, which he may not even have, come and deposit with the bank so that in treasury bill and all that, so that he will get some interest. Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, the money is not there. So as you increase, the banks will also come and borrow from the Bank of Ghana. And the rate given, if it's, say, 30%, they are going to add their profit to it. And so businesses going to borrow from banks always have to deal with a higher interest rate. And that accounts to why productivity is so low. That's why, and if they don't produce, it means people, in fact, people cannot even have the purchasing power to buy because things are so expensive. Look at food inflation now. And we even determine how we are going to deal with food inflation. So one thing the Great Transformational Plan proposes is that, look, we are going to review that inflation targeting framework by the Bank of Ghana. Because it's founded on some fallacious assumption that Ghanaians have some money on them, and so when you increase the interest rate, it will attract them. That's one point. Now, to deal with inflation, you look into the basket of goods. The basket of goods is like statistical service goes to the market, they check all the things Ghanaians spend their monies on. So water, the food, various food items, we call it consumer price index. Now they check all these and realize, look, food is the highest, commodity within the basket of goods. And that's why we have food prices. So now a ball of tomato is like 5 cedis. I bought some tomatoes recently, and I was surprised. I needed 50 cedis worth of tomatoes. She was counting 1 for 5 cedis like that. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
I was shocked.
How did we get here? It's because food inflation is so high. Okay. And how is it so high? Food inflation is high because, look, cost of transport, it's so high. So within the food value chain, you realize at the farm gates, the food is so cheap. But if it gets to Dansuma Market or Accra anywhere, it goes so high. It means the cost of transport. Alan proposes a way to deal with transportation in the Great Transformational Plan and some of our flagship policies.
Okay.
He's saying, please, it's a very integrated plan. So I have the idea.
We can't deal with all the plans.
All right,
let me. 4 minutes to do this, so we can't do it.
Okay, let me try and touch on that. Okay.
I think I haven't done so far.
They don't have anything to say. If you can give me their time.
This time.
In dealing with food inflation, the cost of transport must be dealt with. He's saying cost of transport is determined by cost of spare parts and petroleum products. And so for spare parts delays, Alan is saying, look, we need to set a fixed rate for them in terms of their importing things and clearing goods for the duty, so that if you were bringing in goods at 10 cedis, in 6 months, you still clear it at 10 cedis. Those fluctuations will be dealt with. And it's within our powers to do that. Okay. So we are going to do that. We are going to also seek to transform this economy with an industrial regime, a rapid industrial regime. The whole world changed because of 4 levels of industrial revolution. We've not been able to harness the first, second, and third. But I've heard the Vice President talking about the 4th industrial revolution. That's a misplaced priority.
Okay.
So then we want to look at tourism too.
Oh, no.
So you see, I will entreat Ghanaians to look at the Great Transformational Plan, pay attention to it, and pay attention to the Honorable Alan Kyerematen. I realize people do not know him well. They don't know what he's done, what he stands for.
Exactly what you're doing now. So
let's read into him and then how he brought the intercontinental free trade area and all that.
Let me get you. So, Patrick has 2 minutes.